All right, welcome everyone. Today we are diving deep, and I mean really deep, into one of the most profound teachings from the Zohar's Midrash Hane'elam. We're going to pull back the curtain on a mystical blueprint that's been hidden in plain sight, a map that details the soul's final moments on this earth. Let's get right into it. So, it all kicks off with this incredibly famous verse from Genesis. On the surface, you know the story. It's a historical moment, God appearing to Abraham. A huge deal, no question. But what if it's more than just a story about one person? The masters of Kabbalah, the ones who gave us the Zohar, they looked at these exact words and saw something else entirely. A universal secret for all of humanity encoded right there in the text.
And this really is the central question for us today. Was this just a one-time event for a patriarch thousands of years ago? Or is the Zohar onto something massive? Could this verse actually be a step-by-step guide, a literal script that plays out for every single one of us as our soul prepares to leave this world? Well, the Zohar's answer is a resounding yes, and frankly, it is a breathtaking revelation.
Okay, so here's our game plan. First, we're going to crack open that hidden code. Then, we'll walk through the soul's entire journey, the incredible arrival of the divine presence, what we're calling the final system audit, the dynamic of judgment and mercy, and the soul's ultimate luminous ascent. And then we'll bring it all home and talk about how this ancient blueprint can completely change how we live today. To really get this, you have to appreciate how Kabbalah reads scripture. It's not just about the plain story you learn as a kid. No, there are layers of meaning. And the deepest, most hidden layer is called Sod, which literally means secret. And that's the level we're going to be operating on right now.
Now, where does all this come from? Our source for this entire deep dive is a very specific, very powerful section of the Zohar called the Midrash Hane'elam, the concealed Midrash. Its entire job is to peel back the curtain on verses just like this one and show us the cosmic machinery humming just beneath the surface of the words. And here it is, the core thesis. The Zohar states unequivocally that this verse is not just Abraham's story, it's our story. It's the perennial, unchanging script for the soul's departure. Every little detail, the appearance of God, the heat of the day, those three visitors, it's all a symbol for a stage in the universal experience of death. And the Lord appeared to him is that final personal revelation that every single soul experiences. So let's get into the first stage of this incredible journey. The Zohar describes the moment of passing with this almost 4K cinematic quality. It's this profound, awe-inspiring transition from the world we know to the world beyond.
It all begins with a deep, profound stillness. I want you to just imagine it. The room you're in, the sounds from outside, the worries swirling in your head, all of it just begins to fade. The physical reality that's been your anchor your entire life starts to feel distant, like you're watching a movie of your own life from very, very far away.
And it's not just the sounds. The Zohar says that physical sight itself begins to transform. The light of this world, from the sun, from a lamp, it starts to dim and collapse into one single remote point of light. It's as if you're looking down a very long tunnel at a tiny, fading star. The body's sensory inputs are just gracefully powering down.
And right at that moment, just as the physical light vanishes, an entirely new light dawns. But this isn't light as we know it. It's described as being radiant, overwhelming, and totally, completely alive. It's the light of a higher reality, a spiritual dimension that's been here all along, just hidden by the veil of our physical body. And now, that veil is lifting.
Now think about this famous verse from Exodus. No man shall see me and live. The Zohar offers this mind-blowing reinterpretation. Mystically, it doesn't mean the sight of God is lethal. It means that in order to perceive this ultimate reality, to see this divine light completely unveiled, you can't be fully living in the physical sense anymore. This vision is the very threshold between the worlds. This incredible, luminous event is the soul's first direct, unmediated perception of the Shekinah, the indwelling divine presence. In Kabbalah, this reality corresponds to the Sephir of Melkut, or kingdom. It's the plane where the divine plugs directly into our world. For a whole lifetime, the soul only experienced this through the heavy, clunky filter of the body. Now, for the very first time, it sees reality as it actually is. This is the moment when the Lord appeared to him. But believe it or not, that vision of the divine presence is just the opening act, because immediately after this revelation, the next phase of the process begins.
And this is symbolized in the story of Abraham by the arrival of those three visitors. This, my friends, is the soul's life review. So to put this in a modern context we can all really grab onto, think of it as a kind of cosmic engineering. This isn't some vague, cloudy, near-death experience. No, it's a highly structured, systematic process. It's a final life audit. The Zohar describes it with the precision of a secure logout and data transfer protocol where every single bit of data from your life is meticulously reviewed before the soul gets transferred to the next domain. So who are these three auditors? They're three angelic forces, and each one corresponds to a fundamental divine quality, a sephira. On the right, you've got Michael, who is the embodiment of Hesed, or loving kindness. He's like the universe's accountant for every single good deed, every moment of selfless love you ever showed. Then on the left, there's Gabriel, representing Gevora. That's severity, judgment. He reviews every mistake, every failing with perfect, unsparing clarity. And right in the center, mediating between them, is Raphael, representing Tiferet, harmony and truth. His job isn't just to add up the good and the bad. His job is to find the perfect balance, to weave the two sides together to create one complete, true picture of the soul's entire journey. This whole audit, it leads to the most profound moment of self-realization the soul will ever experience. And it's so important to get this. It's not an external trial. It's a deeply internal process of finally seeing your own life with total, unsparing clarity, where judgment and mercy are held in a perfect, delicate balance. So before these three celestial presences, the soul witnesses its entire life, not like a fuzzy memory, but vividly, like it's happening right now. And in that state of absolute clarity, the soul itself performs the ultimate vidui, the ultimate confession. It acknowledges every thought, word, and deed, holding nothing back. In Kabbalistic terms, this confession gets channeled through the sephira of Yesod, the foundation, which is like the conduit between our physical lives and the spiritual record. It is a moment of absolute radical truth. This is where the color symbolism of Kabbalah just becomes so incredibly powerful. The force of Din, pure judgment, which is tied to Gevora and the angel Gabriel, is visualized as an unyielding red fire. It's the force that accounts for every negative act, every moment of harm, with perfect, unbending precision. But that fire is met by an opposing force, Rachamim, which is compassion, tied to Chesed and the angel Michael. And this is visualized as a calming, infinite white ocean. It's the force that accounts for every act of kindness, every moment of love, every single good deed that ever flowed from the soul. And this just brilliantly illustrates the role of Raphael and Tiferet. His entire function is to weave the red of judgment and the white of mercy together, creating a balanced, harmonious green. Now, this isn't about one canceling the other out. It's about creating a complete and true portrait of the soul's journey, acknowledging both the failings and the triumphs, the debts and the credits, to arrive at the ultimate truth of who that person truly became. So what happens after the audit and the confession are complete? Well, for a soul that has finished its mission, the Zohar describes a departure that is filled not with fear, but with an incredible sense of light and eagerness. Okay, let's just do a quick recap of that whole sequence. It's such a structured and profound process. It starts with that final stillness, where the physical world just fades away. Then comes the divine revelation, that first unfiltered glimpse of the Shekinah. Right after that, the celestial audit begins as the three angelic accountants arrive. This leads to the soul's full and honest confession, that moment of radical self-awareness. Then, judgment is perfectly balanced by mercy, revealing the soul's true essence. And finally, for a soul that lived a life of purpose, the whole journey culminates in a joyful, luminous return home. And this, right here, is the ultimate takeaway from the Zohar's teaching. For a person who has striven to live a good life, who has done the hard work of refining their character, this final moment is not an end to be feared. It is a triumphant homecoming. It's the soul, now pure and fully self-aware, joyfully returning to its source, totally eager to ascend to the place that's been prepared for it. Now, this is all fascinating mystical teaching, but what do we do with it? How does this apply to us right now? Because the Zohar's blueprint isn't just about dying, it's a guide for living. So let's try to frame this in two modern, practical ways. We can look at this through two different lenses. First, for the adult mind, there's the cosmic engineering view. Think of your life as a complex system you're building. Death, then, is the final system checkpoint, the ultimate life audit. The confession, that vidui, is the final data reconciliation, where every single action is accounted for. And the soul's ascent, that's the secure logout and transfer of your essential self to a higher domain. Now for a younger mindset, or hey, for all the gamers out there, let's use the final level analogy. Think about it. The game over screen in this life is actually the loading screen for the final ultimate level. The life review is like seeing your character's final stats. All your good deeds are your high score. And the soul's ascent is that amazing moment when the next world is unlocked and you begin an entirely new journey. Both analogies point to the same incredible truth. Our life right now is the prep work for that final crucial transition.
So we end with this question. If you knew the questions on the final exam in advance, you would study for them, right? The Zohar has just handed us the blueprint for our final day. It tells us that every act of kindness, every harsh word, it's all being recorded and will one day be seen with perfect clarity. So knowing this, how does it change the way you'll live, not someday, but today? Thank you for joining us for this complete journey through the Pardes. We hope these ancient truths help you and your family improve your own dimensions this week. If you enjoyed this full chapter deep dive, please like, subscribe, and share which part of the journey touched your soul in the comments. We'll see you in the next chapter.